welcome to CNN 10. I'm Carl Azuz, and there are 2 points I'd like to make about Fridays. 1, they're awesome. 2, who cares? It's the last day of the work and school week, and we are thankful to be sharing it with you. Our show starts with a logo. There's a good chance you've seen this one before, whether it's stacked on a cargo ship or being hauled by a tractor trailer. Maersk is the biggest container shipping company in the world. But the Danish business says demand for shipping has decreased early this year and that it's had to cancel more than 50 trips to and from Asia. The reason? The new coronavirus that originated in Wuhan, China late last year. As the disease has spread, so has its impact, not only on people, but on businesses as well, with the potential to hurt economies. Maersk estimates that factories in China are working at 50 to 60% of their capacity. This is having ripple effects around the world because so much commerce is tied into what happens with China. In the shipping industry alone, 80% of the things we use every day are carried over the ocean, and China is home to 7 of the world's 10 busiest container ports. So it's not just health officials who are concerned about this virus. The shipping industry and the businesses that depend on it are also hoping this disease would peak and that its spread would then start to slow down. Are there any signs that's happening? It's hard to say and hard to predict. China just announced on Thursday that it recorded the lowest number of daily infections that it's seen in weeks. But South Korea, which is located just a couple hundred miles from China across the Yellow Sea, has reported a spike in cases. The expanding impact is not just at sea. An international trade association says global airlines could lose a combined total of more than $29 billion because of the coronavirus outbreak. Car makers, luxury good makers, drug companies could all be hit, as well as toy manufacturers.
Big eyes, crazy hair, and those layers and layers of packaging. For whatever reason, LOL Surprise is one of the most coveted toys on the planet. But they could be harder to find this holiday season.
There's going to be a major shortage of LOL come these holidays worldwide because of the coronavirus epidemic that we have, frankly.
The coronavirus outbreak has sparked a health crisis and an economic mess as it exposes major vulnerabilities in the global supply chain for all the sectors that reach deep into China.
Numerous companies, Apple, another one, of course, impacted here.
Under Armour's warning that the coronavirus outbreak.
Hyundai, the South Korean car maker, says, as you said, that they are suspending production.
Retailers are also feeling the impact. Anticipating a supply slowdown, Amazon is stockpiling certain made-in-China products. In a statement, Amazon says, out of an abundance of caution, we are working with suppliers to secure additional inventory to ensure we maintain our selection for customers. LOL Surprise dolls are designed by MGA Entertainment in California and made in China. The CEO says before the outbreak, they produced 1 million dolls a day. Now they're at a standstill as China struggles to get back to work.
What people don't understand is that even if the factory is open, they are not able to get all the workers back. And then, to make matters worse, what happens is that factories need raw material.
For multinational firms, this is not the first time their Asian supply chains have been tested. In 2011, the tsunami and nuclear disaster in Japan hit the high-tech supply chain, pushing back the launch of new devices. Later that year, devastating floods in Thailand rattled both the tech and auto industries as production stalled. But the current crisis in China is different, given the unprecedented measures in place to stop the virus and the world's reliance on China as a manufacturing machine. China accounts for more than 80% of all global toy production, so could the outbreak prompt a rethink about China as the factory of the world?
People were already thinking about their supply chains as a result of the trade war between the US and China, and we're thinking about not being dependent so much on just one country, but the impact of this is much bigger than the US-China trade war. And if this goes on for a long time, then companies will have to think about relocating their supply chains.
I don't think, frankly, any company is going to be able to replace China. China is the factory of the world. We have to accept it. We have to face it. They're great at what they do. The quality, the discipline, the infrastructure, the workforce that they have. It's going to be years before somebody else can replicate it.
10-second trivia. Which of these mountains is the shortest? Mont Blanc, Denali, K2, or Mount Kilimanjaro? At less than 16,000 feet tall, Mont Blanc is the shortest on this list, but it's the tallest mountain in Europe. Mont Blanc is located in the Alps, and the Swiss part of the mountain chain is where our next story takes place, as engineers there are putting the finishing touches on a new high-speed, high-capacity railway. This is part of a project to establish better and faster rail links in the region. The mountains have always been a major obstacle to that, but the Sanary-based tunnel cuts right through them. It's 9.5 miles long. It'll join the remaining mountain section separating northern Europe and northern Italy, and it'll be a complement to the Gotthard-based tunnel, which opened in 2016. That passageway is 35 miles long. It took 2,500 people and $11 billion to build, and though they don't offer the same astounding views as the old mountain route, these tunnels are flatter and less curved, which allows heavier freight trains, and more of them, to travel through the Swiss Alps. In fact, the biggest benefit to these projects will be to freight companies who can now send more goods and commodities in less time through the Alps. And as far as travelers are concerned, the total trip time between Zurich, Switzerland and Milan, Italy will be shortened from 4 hours to 2.5 hours. From the snowy mountains of Europe to the humid jungles of Asia, we're taking you on a trip that lets people camp out with elephants. Here are the elephants. Here's where travelers would be camping. They're called jungle bubbles. They're air-conditioned pods with beds and showers, and they give you unbeatable views of the world's largest land mammals. These aren't just everyday pachyderms. Some of the elephants have been rescued from working in harsh conditions, but they're spending a relaxing retirement in a sort of elephant resort that doubles as a human one too. The price to spend the night in a bubble starts at just over $560, and you'd be in a unique and scenic part of the world. This is located in a place known as the Golden Triangle on the borders of Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar. And while there's other stuff to do besides try to sleep with elephants nearby, the animals and the efforts that go into making a better life for them are the main attraction. Start with a flying suit. Strap a wing on your back that has 4 jet engines, and you have what's being called a Jetman suit. Last weekend in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, a pilot got off the ground with one, and that's significant because previous Jetman flights have launched from helicopters and elevated platforms. The pilot eventually rose more than 4,900 feet in the air before parachuting back down. Want one? Me too. But prices of similar jet-powered wings have reportedly cost around $150,000. And that would take some serious bwing and wing up quite a tab for a wingsuit that might wing you a fascinate wing view, but who can swing all the cha-chwing just to get on the wing? You can't just wing it, you might have to wing the lottery, and it might leave you winging your hands over spend wing all your wingings like you're throwing a winging wingding. I'm Carl Azuz. Shout out to our friends in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where there's a whole lot of Vikings watching today. I don't personally pick the schools we mentioned, but for your chance, be sure to subscribe and comment on our YouTube channel. Have a great weekend from all of us at CNN.